Hello, Sweet Tooth here. Hope your day is going well. Gonna matata. Gonna play some more Perfect Date. Perfect Date. Purr. Like a cat. The Bay team. Alright, on chapter 3. So, maybe do some recon. Recon 10. Strange message in the middle of the night. Doesn't anyone on this island sleep? I don't know. Do they? I hear my catalog beeping. I presume it's the professor. I tumble out of bed half asleep and fumble around looking for the device. I look at the screen, my eyes struggling to focus. The message isn't from the professor at all. There's no contact information. Come outside. Who is this? Come outside. They obviously aren't going to respond to my question. Should I do as the message tells me? Sure, why not? Curiosity for the cat. My curiosity is roused. I have a feeling there's something important to learn from the stranger, so I throw on my clothes and crawl out of my tent. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Anyone out here? My catalog beeps again. Walk to the edge of the forest. I'm not going any further until you tell me who you are. Walk to the edge of the forest. No. Walk to the edge of the forest. Stop it. By now I realize I have walked to the edge of the forest. At the edge of the forest I see something on the ground. As I get closer, it becomes clear that it's a small posy of flowers. I gingerly pick them up and notice that several of the flower heads are missing. Catalog beeps again. Follow the petals. And that's when I see the trail of little orange petals, the same color as the bouquet I'm holding. Well, I've come this far, no turning back now. I begin to walk. I'm nervous, so I call out. Hello? No answer. Louder this time. Hello? Hello? Hello, who is that? Who goes there? Major, is that you, Floofy Butt? I really wish you wouldn't call me that, human. What on earth do you think you're playing at? Cavorting around the forest in the dead of night causing a ruckus. A ruckus. Oh, Major, you don't know how pleased I am to see you. I need your help. And this can't wait until a civilized hour? I'm afraid it can't. I'm not the one instigating this. I've been getting messages from an anonymous source, asking me to follow them into the forest. Look, they left this trail. Oh, Calendula maritima. Marigolds. Herb of the sun. They're said to represent creativity, though some believe them to be symbols of cruelty and grief. Your knowledge is always so impressive, but I have to say on this occasion it's not very comforting. Floofy Butt goes striding off with purpose. Come along then, Sandra. Are we going to follow this trail or not? I shuffle awkwardly behind him. Before the sun comes up, eh? We continue on for a short while and notice that the petals are getting more sparse. It's becoming more difficult to see them until eventually they seem to run out, and we find ourselves at a small clearing. Well, it appears someone has been playing a joke on you, Sandra. I sadly agree. This has been nothing but a wild goose chase. Seems so, Major. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Let's get back to our beds before we waste any more precious news time on this fool. I turn to Floofy Butt and notice that his back is arched and his fur is puffed up, making him look even more floofy than usual. Something wrong, Major? You tell me, human. Does that pile of rocks look suspicious to you? Amongst a myriad rock piles, I notice a small, contrived-looking cairn. Fluffybutt's right. It looks far from natural. That looks to me like it's asking to be inspected, Major. I'll get to it, Sandra. You're the one with the thumbs. I begin to dismantle the small mound, rock by rock. It's not until the foundation stone is removed that we find a manila envelope. Major, look, it's a letter. Looks rather large for a letter, my dear. I think you ought to open it. Here or back at the base? Having got you this far, I think it's only fair that I have equal share of the spoils. Spoils? Yes, perhaps we should look right now, Major. As I'm speaking, I've torn into the envelope. Well, out with it. Looks like drawings? What sort of drawings? I'm not sure, but they look quite old, antique even. But do they have value, human? Probably, to someone. They appear to be sketches of people here on the island, but I don't recognize anyone. Why would someone lead me to these? How do you know you were meant to find them? Because we followed a trail and it led us here. Actually, the trail ended a while back. This could be a mere coincidence. I hardly see the intrigue in a few old scribbles. They show no artistic flair at all. Even so, what's with that face that Sandra's making? Even so, I'm going to hang on to these to see if they prove relevant to whatever mystery is unfolding here on this island. Floofybutt rolls his eyes. You really ought to focus more on the clues that matter instead of running around in the middle of the night on wild goose chases. Let's head back before anybody discovers you're missing. I roll the drawings up and tuck them into my waistband. I will study them when I have more time. I think Floofybutt is probably right, but I don't want to miss a trick. Get some rest now, Sandra. Finally, a sensible suggestion. I head after Floofybutt, struggling to keep up. I really need some sleep. That's kind of weird. Alright, well, I guess only romance is left until the end. I guess. It's too beautiful a day to be slaving in a hot lab, so when McMurph invited me for a stroll, it was easy to say yes. Not that I need much incentive to spend time with him, he's very engaging company. We've come to one of my favorite spots where the cliffs sweep upwards above the blue water. Suddenly, and without any warning, McMurphy plunges over the top of the towering rocks. I run to the cliff's edge, with my heart in my mouth to see what happened. And there's a sight I still haven't got used to. He is in the water, more otter than cat, waving me to follow. Jump, Kara, jump. Sure, the water's grand. McMurphy. I'm shocked by the shrillness of my voice. I hadn't intended it to be quite such a shriek. I was aiming for stern admonishment. That's so dangerous. You could do yourself serious injury or worse from such a height. Oh, pish. Come on, Kara. Or you won't get to see the little surprise I have in store. You've already surprised me enough for one day. Ha! Which one of us is meant to be the pussy? Okay, those are loaded words. Murphy. At this, I am filled with an indignance that takes over my body, and before I know it, I am halfway between ledge and water, bracing for impact. This way. I am still catching my breath as McMurphy's head disappears under the surface. My mind is saying no. This is ridiculous. Get back to land this instant, but my body is following the Irish cat. My eyes take a moment to adjust, but when they do, They left the island? But when they do, I can hardly believe what I'm looking at. It's a ship. As we approach from the stern, it looks pretty much intact. I can see the name on the rear port side, and though faded and worn away in its parts, the words are unmistakable. Kitty's Desire. My head is swimming due to the excitement and lack of oxygen. I flounder to the surface to catch my breath. Kitty's Desire. I feel like I know that name. McMurphy eventually bobs up to join me on the surface. Surprised? A shipwreck. Here? This is a very old island, Kara. A lot has happened here. But how did a ship even get here before the path was made? Okay, so they're not off the island? Or past the barrier? You don't ask me, Kara. I'm just in it for the grog. McMurphy smiles and dives back into the murky depths. I follow a flailing flesh bag in comparison to Murphy's sleek figure. I try to get a closer look at the wreckage. It's a big ship, likely a trading vessel. Judging from the size, it's hard to tell how old it is, but it certainly isn't modern. Maybe 18th, 19th century? When we enter the ship from a huge hole in the stern, I realize that a lot of the vessel is actually on land, and it's obvious that it ran ashore after it was damaged at sea. There's not much time to ponder the mechanics of what happened, as McMurphy is tugging at my t-shirt with his right paw, while gesturing with his other paw outstretched to a cabin he wants me to enter. I'm grateful for the air trapped inside and gasp for breath. Here, Kara, look. Hang on, let me catch my... But he has already ducked into the next cell. How is he not out of breath? I realize his ability to swim underwater is unusually strong, but he barely breaks the surface at all. In here, through the hole. He sounds really excited, and as I enter, I see why. There, in the center of the cabin, is a chest. It's wedged between the wall and a surprisingly well-preserved writing desk, the only thing preventing it from falling and being buried in the sand. A treasure chest. I sound like a giddy child and feel embarrassed, but McMurphy joins in my glee, and suddenly we're cheering and laughing together. Go on then, open it, Kara. Okay. What are you waiting for? The key? Does it need one? Well, of course it does, Murph. It's a locked treasure chest. Can you not just break the lock? Who do you think I am, Houdini? I don't know about that, but I do know you're a very clever scientist whose thirst for knowledge matches my thirst for grog. So you get yours and I'll go get mine. Namagi grins before darting into the next cabin, and I hear the familiar clinking of bottles shortly after. I decide to try the lock anyway, and while McMurphy is getting his, I look around for anything I could ever lever it with, and am disappointed. Everything except the chest and desk must have been washed away a long time ago. We'll have to come back with some tools to tackle that lock, Murph. There comes no response. McMurphy is obviously still busy with his looting and pillaging, so I decide to swim to the beach to get a better look at this wreck from land. When I take in the scene properly, I can make out what looks like another large ship just a bit further down the beach. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing. One huge sea vessel finding its way to this island is strange enough, but two meeting the same unhappy fate is more than my brain can process. The proximity of the pair would suggest a collision of some kind. Possibly the second vessel could have been a pirate ship. Maybe it was attacking the merchant vessel. I get the feeling I'm looking at the conclusion of a very interesting story here. I wonder why Professor Popper didn't tell me about it. Obviously he must be aware of the two vessels. My nose for intrigue has started to twitch, and I am burning to know more. I decide to take some of the debris, splinters, and small chunks of metal and pocket it for later analysis in the lab. When I'm satisfied that I've thoroughly combed the beaches for specimens and have salvaged anything of interest, I realize that I haven't seen McMurphy for quite a while. My heart stops, and the hairs on my neck stand on end. How could I have been so wrapped up in my work that I neglected to keep an eye on my friend? McMurphy? I met with silence and still water. I run back towards Kitty's Desire, my heart thumping in my chest. McMurphy! I jump in the sea and swim back to the stern of the ship. There doesn't seem to be any life around here. I break through the surface with a choke and try to call out again, but my throat is hoarse and full of salt water. Where? I catch sight of a shadow out of the corner of my eye crawling along the seabed. I dive under to get a better look and see instantly that it's the Irish cat, stalking and prowling as if he were on land. I quickly grab him by the scruff of the neck and drag him to shore. McMurphy, you loon, what on earth were you playing at? I catch my breath and check on him, but he's happily strolling on his back in the sand. Me? I was having a grand time until you manhandled me with those big, greedy, meaty paws of yours. You're gonna have to get serious with you. What? Having a what? Calm down, Kara. You look like you're going to pop. You'd been under the water for ages. I didn't see you come up for air once. I've been blessed with fantastic breathing apparatus. But I didn't know that, did I? And you were worried about me? Ah, Kara, now that is very touching indeed. I feel like a damsel in distress, rescued by a charming... I don't know, allow him to finish his sentence. You may think you're very clever and funny, but let me assure you that no one else here is laughing. Jumping off cliffs without warning and drinking while you're swimming? Not very clever at all. I wasn't drinking while I was swimming. That would be impossible. I know, I tried. The more cross I am, it seems the more amusing McMurphy finds it. You may not realize it, mister, but I have a duty of care towards you. All of you cats. So if something happens to me, you're afraid you'll get into trouble? It was me thinking you care for me because you like me. He's deliberately turning this around and it infuriates me further. Stop being so manipulative. You know how much I care for you. Of course I do, but you can be very tricky too, you know. Shall we open this? He's reached over to a bottle of grog he's taken from the wreck. You look like you could use something to take the edge off. No, McMurphy, I do not want any of that. Thank you very much. So what is it do you want, Kara? He flashes me a raffish grin. I want you to stop being quite so reckless. You'll give me a heart attack. Well, much as your heart is of considerable concern to me, Kara, I'm afraid I can't stop. I can't promise to stop it being what I am. It's like asking a wind to stop blowing. The wind does stop blowing sometimes. He lets out a long laugh. You really are a scientist, Kara. Nothing will ever change that, eh? I understand what he's saying. I need to allow him to do his own thing. Okay, come on then. Let's start heading back. Actually, Kara, you go on ahead. I'll catch up with you later. He winks, and I am in no doubt as to what he wants to do for the rest of the day. Alright. Might as well. As the sun is going down, I decide to retreat into my tent for the night. When I undo the flap, I see McMurphy curled up asleep on my pillow. McMurphy, you're gonna get fur all over everything. Oh, hi there, Kara. You're back late, you rapscallion. Why are you in my bed? Oh, come now. We both knew I'd be in your bed eventually, didn't we? Calm down there, McMurphy. My hand reaches for the spray bottle, but McMurphy throws up his paws defensively. I'm an unarmed cat, Kara, and I actually came to give you something for good behavior. Don't make me send it back now. Give me something. What? Some grog? Sure, now you're listening. Found something that might just interest you. If it's more of that grog, McMurphy, I can assure you I'm not interested in the slightest. I sit on the end of the bunk and I push him off my pillow and allow him to stay on the bed. As he moves reluctantly aside, I can see a black corner poking out from under my blanket. What's that? Why don't you take a look? I eye him skeptically, nervous of what he's roping me into now. Tell me what it is first. Oh, will you just pick it up, Kara? It won't bite. I carefully reach for it and realize it's a small leather book. Beautifully aged, and yet seems to be in good condition. I open it as gently as I can, for fear that it might turn to ash in my hands. On the first page, smudged and faded, but not destroyed by time or water, are the words, Captain's Log. I can't stop myself from gasping out loud. Oh, Murph, how did you find this? There's a lot you can find at the bottom of a bottle, or 12. Are you impressed? Impressed? Speechless. I could kiss your furry head. Well, don't let me stand in the way of you and your passion. I hardly notice he's still speaking as I have begun trying to decipher the entries, and I'm instantly engrossed. 1789. The men are getting restless. I began to fear for the contrived safe running of this vessel, my vessel, of which they are in mind to take ownership if my captain's instinct served me right. Are you listening? Oh, sorry, what? I said maybe I should leave you to it then. Yes, no, wait. McMurphy, tell me where you really got this from. Was it in a treasure chest? No, Kara, would you believe it that thing was full of nothing but sand and salt water. That bit of treasure, on the other hand, I found at the bottom of one of my crates of grog hidden in between the bottles. But this belongs to a captain. Why would it be with the crew's provisions? I'll let you figure that one out, Brainiac. Think of it as a puzzle to keep you amused on all your cold, lonely nights. McMurphy smirks and saunters out of my tent. Huh. So we got Recon 15. Oh, thanks for warning me. Gotta rest. Uh-huh. I'm out later than usual this evening. I've been feeling restless and not sleeping great. I wonder if it's a transition progressing in me. I feel a pang of fear, but soothe myself with the knowledge that I'm working hard on the antidote, and I've made some headway with it. My thoughts are interrupted by unfamiliar sound. I'm not afraid. I've come to know the island so well, and on this end, I know I am totally safe. I am led by my curiosity as usual. My senses are so attuned to this place now that I know instantly if something is out of the ordinary. It's a very determined scraping, and it's coming from behind a large tree. I creep around as quietly as possible so as not to alert the perpetrator, but the noise stops. There is a standoff, both of us silent until... Kara, what are you doing creeping around in the middle of the night? I exhale loudly. McMurphy, you had me going there for a minute there. Spying on me, were ya? Of course not. I heard the noise, and what was that noise? My, what a sticky little beak you have. He laughs, but I still feel a bit embarrassed. I cast my eyes downward and notice that he has scraped all the moss and leaves from the surrounding area and piled them together into a kind of nest. Looks cozy. That's the plan, Kara. Ah, night under the stars, eh? Yep, a McMurphy special. Got some grog for the occasion? You know me so well, Kara. Well, fortunately for you, I couldn't sleep, so... I see McMurphy's body language change and intuitively know that he feels awkward. That's so rare for him. I rack my brains and in a nanosecond get an answer. He doesn't want me here. It's like a physical blow that wins me for a second before I can say anything. Oh no, I wasn't inviting myself. I actually have work to do tonight. Just meant I am glad I got to say hi. I feel like an idiot twittering on. Well, now, I didn't really think you'd be wanting to lay out all night catching the breeze with me. If I thought there was a chance you'd be up for it, I would have loved to have you along. Sure. So, enjoy. I'm about to leave, but something stops me. Why didn't you? He looks surprised. What's that, Kara? Why didn't you think I want to stay up all night? Even if as I say the words, I recognize how ludicrous they sound. Me, staying out all night, risking being late for work? Because, well, come on, Kara, because you're you. He laughs, not unkindly, more fondly. And fantastic though you are, you're not, well, like me. A good thing, too, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, you're right. Night-night, Murph. Have fun. Yes, Kara, that most definitely on the cards. As I make my way back to camp, I'm passed by 3 vivacious young cats, frisky and giggling. They're heading in the direction I've just come from. It makes me smile and sad at the same time. That was a bad end. Oh no. Oh no. Considering what happened last time, I don't have a good feeling about this. Feeding duty. I've been warned that despite their small size, these kins eat like horses. I'm sure I can handle it though. It's too early. The world isn't meant to be seen before 7 o'clock. These early mornings are still a shock to me, but I'm hitting my stride quicker. I like to get the kittens fed and cleaned out before my breakfast. It's easier to do before the rest of the camp is awake, as there are less distractions. I prepare the mush, and my stomach turns at the milky smell so early in the day. I get the swab tray ready and grab a handful of critty treats. Hello, babies. I peer into the cage of the sleeping kittens, so cute. They're just waking up and ready for breakfast. I do a quick head count. 12. Good, no one tunneled out in the night. Come on then, let's get you swabbed and fed and nom nom. I grab the first sleepy kitten, no more than a ball of fur, and as it opens its mouth to yawn, I dart in with a swab, bottle it, and onto the next fur ball. You're getting good at this. Oh, Trix, you're up early. Going to bed late, actually. I keep swabbing, and in no time I've got all 12 little cats in the feeding cage and have begun cleaning out the sleeping area. Ah, cute. How long will they stay here for? I'm not sure. Generally, they're kept here for about 10 weeks, and then some are released back into the wild immediately, but some are moved to be examined further. I'm still getting the hang of how it all works around here. It's a shame that they aren't all released, isn't it? Yes, I suppose so, but they'll all be released eventually, just some later than others. You think so? Well, yes, unless they're very poorly like Ravenpaw. Trixie winces at the mention of the black cat's name. Very few of those kittens actually get released into the wild, Sandra. What do you mean? Of course they do, as long as they're healthy. Oh, wow. And you know this, do you? You released them yourself? Well, no, but Professor Popper told me that the kittens get discharged at between 10 to 12 weeks. Oh, I see. Trixie smiles, but it looks fake. If I were you, I'd tag one of this litter. Oh no, they're too young for tagging. You have to wait until they're at least 12 weeks. That one over there, he looks very healthy. I'm sure if you tagged him, you'll be able to see for yourself what happens to the healthy kittens. As I go to answer, I hear the breakfast bell in the distance. Oh, Cinderella has to fly. There. And then the calico is gone as quickly as she appeared. Come on then, kitties. Let's get you back into your nice clean cage. Can't help but think about what Trixie has said. She seemed genuinely concerned, and there must be some basis for that. After all, she has been here a lot longer than me. Maybe tagging one of the kittens wouldn't be such a bad idea. Probably, because they probably know more than you do about what's going on. Come on then, back to... But before I even finish my sentence, my hand has grabbed the chipping pin and I've tagged the plump gray male. Probably silly, but it won't harm you, and it could teach me something useful. Achievement unlocked. Tag. I've already loaded my bags onto the boat, and Joe, the ferryman's son, has told me rather rudely that if I'm not back in 15 minutes, he'll leave without me. And won't be up unloading your bags for you either, so... I run as fast as I can to where I know he'll be at this time of the day. I must see him at one last time before I go. Mac? I've reached the shipwreck, but there's no sign of him. My heart lurches. I was sure he'd be here. I'm about to draw a picture for him in the wet sand when I hear a sound. It's coming from behind the wreck on the other side. It sounds like snoring. I creep around, not sure what I'll find, and there he is, sprawled out with an empty bottle of grog beside him. I deduce that he's drunk. McMurphy, you're drunk. It's morning. Nah, but I'm drunk from last night, Kara. That's decent enough, hick? Well, I wanted to say goodbye properly, but I guess you won't remember anyway. Suddenly he's up and alert like a different cat. Do you not know me at all, Kara? There's not one word that's passed between us that I couldn't recall right now and repeat verbatim. Not one look in your eye I can't bring to mind. And he suddenly stops as though he's been slapped. You really going? I have to, you know that. If I don't get to the mainland and find some expert help soon, there will never be an antidote. I don't know if you're a hero or a fool, but I know that this island will not be the same without you. You know I'll be back, don't you? It's important that we all believe that. We must all keep the faith. You're right. I'll just miss you, that's all. And I'll miss you too, Kara. Ha! No one's ever called me that before. I have to go. The boat is leaving any minute. Come on, I'll show you a quick way. And he set off at a quick pace I can just about keep up. We're at the jetty in no time. I bend down and nuzzle the fur on McMurphy's head before scrambling onto the boat. Saying your goodbyes? Yes, that's right, Joe. I wave as we make our way out to open water. Anyone would think them cats was your mates or something. They are, Joe, the best friends I've ever had. Oh dear. Oh no, here we go. What? Dad. What is it? Oh god. Here it comes. Got a problem here, son? Yeah, Dad, this one's spoiled. I don't understand what's happening, but I sense it's not good. Okay, lad. You go steer the boat, leave this to me. And suddenly it's just me and Bob, and he's bearing down on me. It ain't personal, you understand, but we have to ensure things are contained. Then I see what looks like a gun in his hand. Oh my god. I didn't get any successful dates. It's complicated with McMurphy. Didn't get any successful dates and then got shot. Oh. Well, sure. As long as it's not clearly a guy's name. For medicinal purposes. Okay. Hmm. Well, you have to say you'll help them. If you don't, it's an immediate game over. In a calm water, what? What? I don't even... No, I've had just about enough mystery as a person could handle for one day. If you want to be anonymous, I shall take it to you. Also, don't mind being ignored. The professor is already working when I arrive, but I'm not late, so there's no fuss. I get through the day as efficiently as possible and head back to my tent. As soon as my work is done, I want to get to grips with finding out all I can. The diary McMurphy discovered on the shipwreck could have some invaluable information in it. The book McMurphy gave to my predecessor is sitting on my lap. I wonder what a pirate's diary is doing on this island. Maybe there will be some clues in it. Within. The log reads, I felt an almighty crash and then silence and stillness everywhere. It took a few seconds to gather my thoughts and understand what had happened here, if it would ever really be possible to understand this godforsaken place and how we got so far off course to reach here. But in that moment, immediately after we hit the rocks, I knew two things. I was alive and we were on land, and I felt grateful. It felt like a chance at survival, and I was determined to grasp it. I felt my legs intact, thank God, and began crawling over my slate. Over the slate and shingle that seemed to stretch upwards to eternity. What type of place was this? Darkness was falling fast, but I needed to make sure we would be safe in this unexplored terrain. Who knew what would happen during the long night? What creatures it may bring, even with strange meteorological anomalies. Looking at the sky, I felt anything was possible, and we ought to be prepared. We had to work fast. I assembled the men, ragtag although we were, into some kind of orderly unit in the hope that the familiarity of discipline would raise morale. We were all tired, cold, and hungry. Some of us needed medical attention. This was not going to be easy, but it's what I was trained for, and I would rather die than let my men down. We need to make some shelter. My voice sounded thin and weak against the sound of waves crashing. At first light, I looked around and began to take stock properly. It was gratifying to see that the temporary shelter we had cobbled together last night was still intact, and no disasters had befallen us to add to the difficulties we were already burdened with. Considering the conditions, we erected this makeshift cover-in. In how short a time, I felt heartened for the first time since we were out at sea, before the strange electrical storm began that ended with us being thrust here against the unforgiving rocks of this terrifying place. We could do so much more with daylight on our side and food in our bellies. So they were shipwrecked on this island. The thought of being the first inhabitants here is terrifying. How on earth did they survive? Maybe they didn't. I want to believe they were rescued, but it seems unlikely. I will read more this evening. As I put the book away, a small piece of paper falls into my lap. It must have been hidden amongst the pages of the log. It's a note. Maybe a letter? Sally, I know you worry for me, but do not. The men do not treat me bad. They give me food and do not beat me so much anymore. The captain is not so fearsome as what they say and is giving me lessons on my writing. I am improving. I practice all night because I can't sleep. I work hard, sometimes till my hands crack and bleed, but I still use them every morning to pray for you, that you are safe and well and that we will be together once again. I miss you so much. The seas have not been smooth. Sometimes I worry that we will capsize completely and be lost out here forever, but I would swim the widest ocean back to you, my sweet sister. I hope you were practicing your writing too. I would like to read your clever poems again. Your loving brother, Jim. What a sweet letter. I wonder what became of Jim. What's Kibbles about? I'm out in the forest looking for some shade and a place where I won't be disturbed. I need to be relaxed when I finally read the precious contents of the envelope I'm carrying. It feels like I've waited an age for this moment. Eventually I find a clearing with a moss-covered tree stump that looks comfortable enough. I have a quick check around to satisfy myself that I'm alone before I take a seat and slowly unpeel the flap of the brown wrapper and pull out my issue of Kanashi Boy. It's such a treat to get some quiet manga reading time to myself. I'm just starting to get into it when I hear a rustling sound coming from the nearby bushes. It's not the sort of sound the wind makes when it ruffles the leaves. It's more deliberate than that. I look over towards the bush and the noise stops abruptly. Almost as soon as I resume reading, it starts again. I try to ignore it and continue with my comic, but it's very intrusive. I feel like I'm being watched. Who's there? The rustling gets louder. Hello? I inch my way towards the source of the sound, nervously holding my breath. I reach out my arm to pull aside the branches when something bursts out of the bush and knocks me sideways. Kibbles, what on earth are you doing? Why are you were you spying on me? He picks himself up from the ground, desperately trying to style it out. Oh, you're here? I hadn't noticed. I was just looking for something. In a bush? Yeah, I left my... Kibbles looks around frantically for something. He locks eyes on an unremarkable-looking flat pebble and picks it up triumphantly. My pebble. I left my pebble in this bush. Found it now. Good, I'd had to think what happened if you lost that. Yeah, anyway, what are you doing here? Reading? I hold up the comic book, emphasizing the obvious. Yeah, thought so. You're very observant, Kibbles. Yeah, so... Is that Kanashi Boy? What? I'm taken aback. Yes, actually it is. Do you know it? And more to the point, how do you know it? Yeah, it looks like issue 8. That's right. Now I'm impressed as well as amazed. Kibbles, how on earth do you know? Questions are flooding in my brain, but I know I need to play this cool. I don't want him shutting me out. And that's an old issue. It looks like he has no intention of answering my questions, so I try a different tack. I'm a little behind, so I brought a couple of back issues with me to bring me up to date. So which version are you reading? Version? I'm not sure. It's probably the inferior American translation. You really have to get the original Japanese or the European versions to get all the nuance. Oh? It's impossible to truly understand the depth of Fumiyoshi and Hara's relationship in the version you've got. You're a proper fan, then? Could say that, I guess. I'd love to pick your brains sometimes. What do you want to know? Does the original version explain how they are able to enter the third chamber together when Chisato gets turned into a hog? Oh yeah, it's because she tried to pass through the gate without Iso's approval. Alright, that would make sense. That bit was cut for some reason. The American version they're selling these days is plebeian trash. Well, I like it. Any serious Kanashi Boy fan would track down the European translation. I'm not sure, but I don't think I'd be able to get those delivered here. I guess I'll have to make do with the trash version. I'd rather read something else than read that inferior rag. Fair enough, but I'm still enjoying this. I start to go back to reading my trash, but Kibbles suddenly springs forward, grabs the comic out of my hands, and runs off into the undergrowth. Hey, Kibbles, bring that back. But he's gone. I wait for a while, not quite believing what he just did. After a few minutes, I lose hope that he'll return and start packing away my things to head back to camp. Just as I start walking away, Kibbles comes crashing through the bush. Oh, there you are. What was all that about? I got you something. That's when I notice he's holding a copy of Kanashi Boy issue 8, but it's not my copy. The one is in a pristine plastic cover. It looks new. Here, this is my copy. The European translation? Original Japanese, actually. Oh wow, but how do you understand it? Don't tell me you speak Japanese. Some. Look, I made my own translation. There are pieces of paper tucked in between the pages with scrawled writing on them. How did you manage that? One of the ones before you, she helped me translate it. One of the ones before me? What does that mean? A previous assistant? Want to read this or not? I'm far more interested in what he's just said. You said helps. Kibbles is looking at the cover of Kanashi Boy, but I sense he's pretending to be preoccupied. He's clearly said more than he intended to, and now he's distanced himself from it. That would suggest they're still here? Where does the circle end? Huh? I'm annoyed that he's obviously trying to change the subject. It's a simple question, human. I'm worried that if I push him too far, he'll disappear into the bushes, so I decide to play along for now. Where does the circle end? He's watching me intently, and I get the feeling this is some kind of test. The circle ends where it began, probably? Gibbs looks delighted. Oh, cool. You've read it. Read what? Sakura. I'm sorry, I don't know that one. But you gave the right answer. I had no idea what we're talking about now. Sakura by Heishi Katsuki. You haven't read it? Afraid not. Is it good? Only the best in its genre, which is Guro, actually. And Guro means gore, of course. Of course. I wasn't aware that gore was the whole genre. I realize that I'm a bit out of my depth here. I can lend it to you. I have a copy here. Kibbles looks like he's about to dive back into the bushes. Well, hang on a minute. That sounds really interesting, but I'm in the middle of Kanashi Boy. So, ditch that and start this. You won't regret it. You know, the problem is, when people start doing this, it's like, they want you to jump from thing to thing to thing to thing. Like, and you never actually get to do what you want to do. I guess should read what he's offering. Well, normally I would finish the series I'm on before starting another, but you got me very interested in the Sakura, I must say. Wait right there. And it's gone before I can open my mouth. I'm starting to get used to this routine, so I wait patiently. He's back within seconds. That's quick. Where do you keep this stuff? I could tell you, but... do you have to kill me? Well, slow down, JJ. It's a bit too soon to be finishing out each other's sentences. JJ? Jesse James. McMurphy told me all about him. Fastest draw in the Wild West. Suddenly, he's leaping around with pretend paw guns. pew-pewing until he's been shot and acts out an elaborate stagger fall death scenario. Then he's back up on his feet in a heartbeat, pointing at the comic he's placed in my hands. Yeah, it's universally agreed that it's the grossest manga out there. Kibbles grins though that's a positive thing. I look at the glossy black cover and feel my interest peak. This doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd usually pick up in a comic shop, but I'm certainly intrigued. Great. You're gonna love the bit where Kira's mom stabs out her own eyes because... Kibbles, spoilers. Oh, who cares about spoilers? It feels totally different when you see it with the artwork. I don't want you to tell me any part of the story, Kibbles. It doesn't matter if it feels different. Okay, but just remember one thing. Kibbles, if this is a spoiler, I'll be very upset. The circle ends where it began. Kibbles! I can't tell if that was an actual spoiler, but I still feel indignant. He holds his paws up defensively. What? You said it yourself. That's a lucky guess. What does it mean anyway? It's the secret password for Sakura fans to help identify each other. The mangaka made it up himself. Like the Mason's secret handshake? Yeah, probably. You don't know what the Masons are, do you, Kibbles? It's like a boy band or something? Close enough. Should we make our own secret handshake? You know, in case someone tries to infiltrate our manga club? Good idea, Kibs. We don't want anyone getting their mitts on our intelligence. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if you hold out your hand in a fist formation and I do this, Kibbles has splayed out his claws out as if he's going to scratch me, but pushes his metacarpal pad into my knuckles. Feels really strange. That's great, Kibs. Really unique. Yeah, so anyway, I've got a lot of stuff to be getting on with. Important business stuff. I'll have to catch you later, human. I feel a bit taken aback by his sudden change in mood. Oh, okay, Kibbles. I'll get on with this manga then, and we can discuss it soon. Yeah, sure, see ya. I sit down on a tree stump to get stuck into my new comic when I hear, "Fill your hands, you son of a gun." I look up to see that Kibbles has crept around the far side of the trees to ambush me. I spring into action, falling to my knees behind my tree stump. You wouldn't shoot an unarmed cowboy, would you, yellow-bellied snake? He momentarily lowers his paws. What? I seize my opportunity. Pew pew, gotcha. I shoot my finger guns at him. Nuh-uh, I dodged. Kibbles jumps into a roll and shoots his paw guns at me. No, you got me. Ugh, I can't believe this is how it all ends. I grab my chest and stagger onto the floor, doing a very good performance, if I do say so myself. That's what you get when you mess with this sass-slinger. I dart my head up. The what? Oh, nothing. What did you just call yourself? I didn't say anything. The sass-slinger? No, I don't know what you're talking about. You're boring me, human. I'm going now. No, I mean, that's really cool. I want a name, too. Kibbles looks surprised. I get off the floor and dust myself down. Dust myself off? How about the sass-slinger and his sidekick? The, banter bomb. Banter bomb? Yeah. That's really embarrassing. Okay, well, I'll think about it and get back to Kibbles. This has been so fun. See you later, Bants. He blows the imaginary gun smoke from each of his little paws and swaggers off into his bush. I feel childishly happy. Tagging and scanning. Today it's off to the beach to tag some cats. Here, kitty kitty. I'm out on tag and scan rotation. The sun is beginning to set and the beach is cooler. This is hunting time, so in theory, more cats will be drawn out from their hidey holes. The other time for tagging is midday, when they're at their laziest, but I find the heat too intense to come to this part of the island at that time. Something catches my eye and leads me into the forest. Oh, here, kitty. Just me. Oh, hi, Kibbles. How's it going? Define it. Ooh, what's that thing? Kibbles is already eyeing my chipping pen. Looks like a weapon. Is it a weapon? No. Well, kind of. Do you want me to show you how it works? Kibbles gives me an exasperated look. How dumb do you think I am, human? Look, you'd be doing me a huge favor. Just let me use this thing on you. Oh, yeah? Yes, I don't think I can actually tag you twice, and I need all the practice I can get. Well then, catch me if you can. I hear a nya echo through the forest as Kibbles seems to disappear before my very eyes. Impressive. How did you do that, Kibbles? Kibbles? Come back. I won't shoot you, okay? I'll even let you have a go if you can show me how you disappeared so fast. He won't come back now. The new voice startles me. He's like the Scarlet Pimpernel. I turn to see a mid-sized brown-haired cat scratching at the trunk of a tree. I can't decide if that cat looks weird or cool. Oh, hello. I don't think we've met before. My name's... I know who you are, Turntail. The island is buzzing with news about you. Turntail? What does that mean? I realize I'm going to have to scan her. Kibbles leaps from nowhere and pins the new cat to the floor. Shoot her! Nyahaha! Sorry. This won't hurt. It's for your own good. It's so we can make sure you stay safe and healthy, and... I seize my opportunity and move fast. I've already grabbed the scruff of her neck, and before I finish speaking, I press the pin between her shoulder blades and release the microchip. There, all done. Wasn't so bad, was it? Well, awesome. Can I shoot the next? I doubt that, Kibbles. I wiggle my thumbs in his direction. Aw, man. I gotta get me one of those. Can I get up now? I have things to do. Kibbles? He remains pinned to the other cat. I reach for the spray bottle in my pocket, and he leaps away with a laugh. Off you go, then, to do your things. Anything I can help you with? No, just duties. Duties. Must get everything done. No, okay, I'm gonna have to enter data for you in this catalog. How about we call you B? B? Because you're so busy. Busy B. Look, B, it would be good if I could get you to come to the camp to check you over and make a note of your details. If you want to drop by when you're free, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll have to come back with a cat carrier. Not so great. I'll come by. I know the place. The cat slinks off. Do you know her, Kibs? Kibbles emerges from his hiding place in a tree. Yeah, I know her. Is she okay? She seems a bit unhappy. Oh, she's fine. She's just like you is all. Like me, what do you mean? You're the scientist, you work it out. Kibbles vanishes again. I've had a busy morning today, so I'm rewarding myself with a longer lunch break. I used the extra time to return to what has become my favorite reading spot in the forest to finish Sakura. Kibbles was right. It's fantastic. I am enjoying it so much more than I expected to. I'm not usually a fan of manga that is excessively bloody. My tastes tend to be more benign. This was an exception. The gore was so relevant to the individual characters and the overarching story that it felt entirely justified. I read the final page, closed the issue, and exhaled loudly. What an ending. I can hardly believe that the main character died. It's too sad and yet completely authentic. I can't see how anybody could have escaped a situation like that. My thoughts are interrupted by the sound of rustling nearby. I open my eyes. Hey, Kibbles. Kibbles tumbles out of the bushes again. He's holding an adorable little satchel, which is shaped like a penguin. Hello, Sally. Have you read Sakura then? Yes, I just finished it now. It was so disturbing, but in the best possible way. Yeah, the bloody body horror bits are epic. You want it back? I hand Kibbles the comic book. He examines it closely, clearly looking for any signs of damage or wear. After a while, he seems satisfied. He opens the satchel and carefully places it inside. At the same time, he takes out 3 more comics and presents them to me. You should try these. Now, they're on another level. If you want to be taken seriously, you've got to read them. I struggle to understand who I should be trying to get to take me seriously. I give up. Okay, great. What do you have for me? First, this is Hokurashi. It's about a kid who finds a puppet that lets him control his parents. Then this one is about Hungry Sparrow. The artwork is sick. There's this character called the Icebreaker. He's a huge polar bear. And this last one is Kuchio Tsubome. It's probably my favorite. Oh wow, Kuchio Tsubome. You've heard of it? I've heard of it. I've read it. It's awesome, isn't it? Well, I actually couldn't stomach it, but I don't know how well Kibbles will take that. I don't know. I don't feel like lying. To be honest, it was a bit much for me. Kibble suddenly looks very serious. It reminds me of my lecturers in uni when I answered a question wrong, but they didn't want to come out and say it was wrong. In what way much? I think it's a bit relentless, the gore. It's not relentless, it's integral. Really? I felt the scene where Kaede eats that slug was just gratuitous. Totally the wrong place for something so gut-churning. What? Kaede never eats a slug. You must be thinking of something else. No, it's right after Maharu brings her the fruit basket. She opens up a banana, and the slug is inside. I remember the fruit basket, but no slug. He pulls a comic out from its protective sleeve and starts looking through his pages. He eats the fruit basket, and then it goes straight into the train scene. No slug, see? Oh, I see what the problem is. This is a shorter version. The slug scene must be in the extended edition. Extended edition? Yes, I got it back at camp. I can lend it if you like. Swapsies! Kibbles looks upset for a moment, but quickly composes himself. Oh, well, I've heard that an extended version is way too long. That's probably why you didn't enjoy it. The pacing is much more better than the standard edition. Yeah. You're probably right. You have better knowledge than me on this stuff. He looks super happy and prances around me for a few seconds, catching imaginary insects. Okay, Kibbles, can I still borrow Hungry Sparrow and Hokurashi? He pulls himself together. Oh, so you haven't read those? Not yet. I've heard Hungry Sparrow is excellent. I'll say nothing until you've read them. We can compare notes then. Kibbles hands me the comics and packs Kuchio Tsubome away. Thanks, Kibbles. I'll bring them back as soon as I'm finished reading them. See that you do. Kibbles disappears backwards into the bushes once again, never breaking eye contact. Maybe he lives in that bush. Perhaps it's like the TARDIS. Alright, anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. Hope you have yourself a good day, and this is Sweet Tooth signing off. Love you.